Going back to Pirates, that was the last attraction that you all worked on with Walt, or the last attraction that he worked on, I should say, before he passed away. I interviewed Rolly Crump about this, and I'd like to play a clip and let you all see what he said about that time frame.
And it was kind of a sad time. It was very sad because I think what happened was without Walt, there was a lot of shuffling in management and different people wanting different positions and stuff. And John Hinch made the strongest statement of all. He said, "Now we'll know how much of our work Walt did for us." That's tough.
You saw that. You saw how much he really did.
Yeah, I think about everything that I do and the comments that he made to me. So yeah, it was tough.
So how did you all feel during this time? Were you in that same mindset? Did you feel the same way, that you were starting to see how much he did for you? Or did you feel, yeah, go ahead, Orlando.
Well, I tell you, I, for one, was supercharged when Walt was, giving us instruction on what he wanted us to create for him. And I felt I was very much a part of a very huge team of brilliant people, and very special because I was lucky to be with these people who were so creative, and I wanted to equal their input. And so it was very, very particularly wonderful period of my life. And it's something I treasure. It didn't happen too often since then. He was a special man. He was just a special man. And he still lives today within the creative mind of the people at Disney. They really do. They still have that feeling. I really need it. They're reaching for those stars. That's what Walt did.
Richard, you said it this morning when you talked about the song you wrote for the new fireworks.
Oh, we're gonna end with that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, Marty, I got it all scripted out.
I didn't know that.
I like to say that I wasn't at the top level, and I was down at the bottom level. But after Walt passed away, it was amazing to see the leadership that was provided there at Walt at Wit Enterprises. And it came from people like Dick Irvine and even old Joe Fowler, who was our chairman of the board, because we were a wholly owned subsidiary of Walt Disney Productions. So we had our own board of directors, and Joe was part of that. The leadership from them, right on down to everybody, with everyone sitting on this thing, some people sitting out there. I was amazed at it. And you always knew that no matter what happened, you were able to continue on and do all the great things that he wanted us to do. That's how I felt.
So by 1967, summer 1967, was Tomorrowland opening, and this was the opening of so many projects that you all worked on together with Walt. How did it feel at that point? It must have been a renewed energy to see all these dreams of his come to fruition. Tell us a little bit about Tomorrowland and actually the excitement of that summer.
Well, I think, well, there were all new things, a lot of new things in Tomorrowland, including the People Mover. I think the most important thing of that period is we were actually getting started on Walt Disney World, and that's where all most of our energy was going. And when the company made the commitment about a year after Walt died, it took about that long to go ahead with the Walt Disney World project. So Tomorrowland was kind of an interim thing. It opened, all those attractions were ready to go in '67, but we were all focused on all those 28,000 acres of Walt Disney World.
So speaking of the next steps, you wrote the Walt Disney World Background and Philosophy. manual that would lead the next generation forward. Tell us a little bit about the how that came about.
Well, this is the book. Dick Irvine, who Orlando mentioned, he was the design head of Imagineering. Actually, first person Walt hired to work on Disneyland, and he said, we're going to hire so many new people. We have to get everybody on the same page. So I want you to put together a book that has Walt's philosophy in it. So I put together, this is about 180 pages, and it says, this assemblage has been prepared as a background starting point for developing a philosophy for the Disneyland-style theme park in Walt Disney World. Now, there's a great deal of other material we could have included. However, the intent here is to provide as a foundation Walt's thinking and philosophy as it applied to Disneyland, and additionally, Walt's thoughts about Walt Disney World as they apply to what we're now beginning. So, there's all kinds of information in here about Disneyland concept, pre-Disneyland, and some of the material that the dedication plaque was based on. Walt's and Roy's interview when they announced the Walt Disney World project in November 1965 in Florida, and my 7 pages of notes are in here. My meeting with Walt that I used to write the Walt Disney World Epcot script. So this was basically, I use it all the time. You can see all of my markers in there because there's so much great Walt Disney philosophy through this, and it meant a lot at the time and still means a lot to me because I use it all the time.
So to wrap up our last question is, what was Walt's impact on all of you? We'll end with Richard, but I'd love to know, Marty, sort of what did he instill in you going forward that you always have taken with you?
My first?
Yeah.
Well, a number of things. First of all, there was never a person who was more optimistic than Walt Disney. He believed that if you gave people the right information, they would act in the right way, act in an intelligent, educated way, which is all behind his concept for a community called Epcot. But I think the biggest thing for me was Walt was always moving on. So he basically was saying to all of us, whatever you did yesterday was never going to be good enough again, because I'm moving on, I don't do sequels, and you're going to have to keep up with me. And so I think in this business, we're very lucky because we keep learning. We keep having to find out more things. We have to keep up with people like Walt Disney who are running out ahead of us. And to me, that was such a great way of living your life when somebody says, you've got to do better the next time. You had to learn more. You had to be better yourself at whatever you were doing. What a way to live your life.
Amazing leader.
The biggest thing is that there's nothing that you can't accomplish. He left that very strong in everybody at WDI or at Red Enterprises, and that was it was something that we all believed in. There wasn't anything, no matter what we wanted to do, no matter what the problems that occurred, they were never big enough that we couldn't move right on through them and get it all solved and create the best thing in the world. It was amazing.
Richard?
Well, I think,
How has he inspired you as a leader?
well, to me, I think what one of his greatest gifts, if not the greatest to me, was the fact that he had such a great love for people. He really loved people. He liked to make them happy. He did everything he could to make it a better place to live. And it was something that I just felt very strongly about. And when I heard about the fact that Walt Disney himself was the one that dreamed up making fireworks because he loved it as a kid. He loved to see fireworks, and it didn't cost anything. He says, nobody's going to have to buy a ticket to see the fireworks at Disneyland. Every night they're going to have fireworks, and they're going to have music, and they're going to have Tinkerbell flying across the sky. Of course, that's going to make them feel good. No, that's my little kiss goodnight as they leave the park. That was such a story. When I heard that story, I was so moved I had to write the song. And so he still has a great influence on me to this day. And of course, I was thrilled to this morning do it with Leslie, not with Leslie, with Ashley,
And so we have the piano playing behind, and tell, where is this played, Richard? This is at the Kiska night at the Spectacular Parade.
This is a
Parks,
Kiska
right?
night. Yeah, I don't know. Did I play it? Am I playing that?
Yeah,
He's
you're
good.
playing.
The answer to the question is that Disney, in all their wonders, sent for Mary Poppins, the little girl that played Mary Poppins in New York for 4 years, and took it on the road, and Ashley Brown, and brought her out to record it for all time, for it to be here. And again, it's Disney magic. It's wonderful.